this session, we're going to look at mobility of the shoulder joint. Which muscles are causing restriction? What is your natural range? If there is inflammation around the tendon or surrounding tissues, then you might want to restrict some of the range initially until that inflammation is down. But all of these exercises should feel safe for your shoulder. Please can you make sure that the space is cleared of any obstructions. Have a bottle of water for hydration during the session. So let's start with the shoulders in standing. We're going to just roll the shoulders up and backwards, getting a nice range of movement, getting a bit of blood flow to the area. The more we move that area, the more blood flow, the less tension. The less tension, the less pain. And then we're going to place the hands onto the shoulders and we're going to go into an elbow circle. So obviously the bigger the circle, the bigger the challenge for that shoulder joint. If it's too much to go big, start small. We want to restore that function back in the shoulder, but we need to do it gradually. Let's go into some neck mobility. We're going to open up our collarbones, relax the shoulders from the ears, and we're going to go ear to shoulder. So we're stretching out the side of the neck. Often with shoulder impingement, the neck starts to take on a lot of referred tension as well. We're not holding the head down with the other hand. We don't want to add extra load. We just want to let the weight of the head open the neck. Over to the other side, ear to shoulder. Big breath in. And release. Then we're going to look to one side, so chin over shoulder. Lift the chin up a little bit to the ceiling, pull the opposite shoulder back, stretching a bit of the front and side of the neck. And over to the other side. Moving over, pull the opposite shoulder back, so you're anchoring from that point. Lift the chin up a little bit. And then back to center. Now we're going to nod the head to the chest. So we're opening up the back of the neck a little bit while we pull our shoulders back. Almost like we're pinching the shoulder blades together, but not quite. Now hold that position with the shoulders. You're going to lift your chin up to the ceiling. And then move diagonally across the ceiling. Bring the tongue onto the roof of the mouth. Breathe into that space. And then chin to chest. Other side. Look back up to the ceiling. Turn the head to look across. Tongue on roof of mouth. Breathing into the stretch. And release. Link your hands behind the back of the body. And we're going to fold forward. Opening up the chest, breathing into it. Very good stretch to do. And then coming all the way back up. Let's go into the roll down. Roll down's there to articulate the spine and wake up the abdominals, but we're going to nod the head to the chest and we're going to roll down through the spine. One bone at a time. Stop as you get to about the rib cage. Let the head and shoulders and arms hang heavy. And then roll and restack that spine back up again. And again. So we're just waking up that upper part of the body. Nod the head to the chest. Hollow the front of the body as you roll down the center line. Just to the ribs. Stop there. Big breath into the back and side of your rib cage. And scoop the abs in, start to restack that spine back up again. Last one, we're going to nod the head to the chest, roll down, opening up the upper back. Again, can be a lot of tension in these areas if we're holding on to pain. And then now we're going to go all the way down to the mat, one bone at a time, lifting the abdominals up to the ceiling, as if we're rolling over a high fence and trying to touch the floor on the other side. At the bottom, big breath in. And then breathing out, we're going to restack that spine. Try keep the pelvis over the ankles as you come up. So you're using your glutes, you're using your abs. This is actually an abdominal exercise. And restack tall. Now we're going to roll down again, one bone at a time, mobilizing the joints in the spine. Remember, everything's connected, so your shoulder is connected to your spine through muscles, through fascia. So we want to open everything up. Rolling onto all fours, coming into a cat stretch. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to now tuck our tailbone between our legs, round the back up into a lovely cat stretch. Big breath in, and then push the tailbone out, restack and lengthen the spine back up. Careful not to collapse on the shoulders. Lift the head and chest, shoulders from the ears. And again, round the spine up, opening up the back of the body, connecting the front of the body. Big breath in, and then lengthening out. Now we're going to round up into cat stretch again. Bend one arm, then thread the other arm underneath. So you're getting that rotation. Very important to mobilize all ranges of movement in the spine and the shoulder. And then coming back up, other side. Thread the arm through. And coming back up. Once more each side. And threading through. And then coming up. And turn the hand up to the ceiling. Turn the chest the other way. And back down, other side, thread through. And then lifting up, twisting the torso to face the other side, opening up the chest and the front of the shoulder, which can get really tight with the shoulder impingement issue. Right, let's come now and lie down onto your back, arms down by your side. We're going to start to increase a little bit more range through the shoulder. Now please make sure that you work within a pain-free range. If you feel a point of tension, stop. That will be your range until we build up a little bit more function in the shoulder. So we're going to go into the bridge with arms. We're going to tilt the pelvis, lifting the tailbone, imprinting the lower back. Now make sure you haven't overarched your back. You want to keep the ribs soft. Arms float up to the ceiling. Now we're going to just test how much range we have in our shoulder. So we're going to reach the arms back. You might find that you can't go very far at all. Maybe you can go further than you thought you could. Just work to the point of pain-free range and then come back with the hands to the ceiling. And again, stay lifted and just move the arm back. This is more to assess what's happening in our shoulder. We're anchoring the shoulder girdle to the mat, and now we're seeing how far we can push it. You might find once it's warmed up a bit, you could probably go a little bit further, but don't force anything. And then you're going to now bend your arms into what we call a goalpost arm position. Palms facing up, elbows down. This is going to help really anchor the posture of the shoulder to the mat, and then you're going to curve the spine back down, keeping the shoulders connected, one bone at a time in the spine. And we're going to do one more like that. Pelvic tilt coming up, one bone at a time. Opening up the front of the shoulders, securing it to the floor, and then curving the spine. So we're mobilizing the spine, but getting the posture right in the shoulder. All the way down. Might be a bit of a challenge for the shoulder if there's a lot of tightness. Just use your breath. We're going to straighten those arms into a T arm position. Now from this position, we're going to breathe out and float one leg up to tabletop. Other side, breathe out, lift the leg up. So from this position, your shoulders are going to now anchor to the mat. We're going to mobilize the spine in rotation, but your shoulders are actually what we're thinking about in terms of stabilizing the shoulder girdle. So we're going to glue the legs together and we're going to roll the knees over to one side, just a couple of inches. Stop. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. You're going to roll them back to center. Other side. Breathing in, you're going to roll the knees over just a few inches. Don't lift the shoulders off the mat. And then come back to center. And keep going. So you'll notice the further you bring those legs over to one side, the bigger the challenge is for the shoulders to anchor and support, especially on the side of the impingement. And you're just moving and mobilizing the spine, trying to wake up all those muscles that may have become quite tight due to this injury or condition in the shoulder. The more you free up the muscles away from the shoulder, so a bit further away from the actual injury site, it can refer and start to release closer to the injury site. And let's do one more each side. Breathing in to go over. Breathing out to come back. So you can go further and further if you feel confident enough to control the movement. And release back down. Bring your arms down to your sides. We're going to go into the hundreds exercise. We've got a neutral pelvis. So neutral pelvis is the midpoint between two extreme ranges of a pelvic tilt. So if you tilt your pelvis and imprint your lower back, that's one end of the range. If you send the tailbone all the way down, arching the back of the floor, that's the other end. Neutral is the mid placement between those 2 points. Now, let's start with the hands up to the ceiling, palms facing the thighs. Big breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're going to lower your hands down to the floor, lifting the head and shoulders. Now in this position, I want you to hold it. Check your posture. You want to make sure that you're not rounding too much in the shoulders. So broaden your collarbones, anchoring the tips of the shoulder blades to the mat, and then push off your tips of the shoulder blade, leaning forward even further, lengthening the upper back muscles and the back of the neck. And then let's release back down. So this is a really important exercise to just find good posture in your shoulders. Let's do that again. We haven't quite hit the hundreds exercise just yet, but I want you to set up correctly first. So we're reaching the arms so far forward without lifting the tailbone. Keep your neutral pelvis. Shoulders draw away from the ears. It's almost like they're trying to anchor down onto the mat as the head lifts and reaches forward, opening up the collarbones. Now, you're going to roll the palms of your hands up to the ceiling. We usually do hundreds palms down, but for shoulder impingement, it's good to encourage the external rotation in the shoulder. And we're going to pump those arms up and down, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in and out. Forced exhalations. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out and release back down. So we just did 3 sets. The hundreds exercise is 10 sets of that breath pattern. Now let's do one more set of 3. We're going to curl up, rotate the arms, palms up to the ceiling. So each pump down of the arms is going to trigger the muscles on the back of the shoulder, which will strengthen up that shoulder posture. So we're going to pump, 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 pump. Soften the elbows a little bit, especially if you're a bit hypermobile as well. You don't want to be bouncing in the elbow joint, so keep that control. Go slow if you need to. Last set. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release down. Let's go into the next exercise. This is going to be in side lying. If you need a cushion for underneath your head, especially if you've got that impinged side of the shoulder, then please feel free to get a cushion. Otherwise, your arms are going to be in front of you. We're going to do a lovely release exercise for the shoulders. So we're going to reach the top arm forward. So we're stretching that back shoulder. And then we're going to reach up to the ceiling and all the way behind you. Now, with a shoulder impingement, you should be able to manage this horizontal plane. Keep that horizontal plane. It's when we start to get that arm up a bit higher up, will it start to really impinge. And this just helps to open up the front of the shoulder and the chest. And then closing back to center. And again, big breath in, reach forward. So we're stretching the back of the shoulder. Then we're going up to the ceiling and then stretching out the front of the shoulder. Mobilizing the shoulder joint. And then close back to center. And again, coming up and all the way back. Now hold that position behind you with the arm and roll your head, if it isn't already, to look forward. So you're opening up that neck as well. So any referred tension is getting released. Now place your hand onto the shoulder just like we did in standing. We're going to do little elbow circles. So again, we're mobilizing the shoulder joint. Only work within a pain-free range. It might just mean a tiny little golf ball size circle or bigger if you feel you can manage it. Breathe in, use your breath to relax the muscles that have been in protection mode for so long. And 2 more, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and come all the way back to center. Right, now we're going to stay in this position. If you're lying on top of the bottom shoulder, and that's the healthy shoulder, you can straighten your arm underneath your head. Otherwise, just keep your arm in front of you. Now we're going to just go a little bit into the lower half, give the shoulder a breather, but we're going to open up the top knee into a clam position and lower back down. We're breathing out and breathing in. We're just going to do 4 more. 1. Careful you're not twisting the pelvis as you do this. And last one. Release down. We're going to go from this clam position. We're going to roll all the way over to the other side. So we're going to open up that knee, and we're going to open up the top arm with that knee, and then we're going to roll all the way over to the other side. Now I'm just going to turn around and face you from the other side so I don't have my back to you. And then we're going to do the open book again. So we're going to open up, top hand up to the ceiling and lengthen all the way behind you. Keep those knees anchored. You might be tighter on one side, probably more on the impinged shoulder side. And closing back. Breathe in, reach forward, stretch the back of the shoulder, then reach up to the ceiling and bring it all the way back in that horizontal plane. Have a dangle at the back if you need to, and closing back. Let's do 2 more. Breathing in and breathing out. So we're just gently starting to get into the shoulder, get into the body a little bit, assessing each posture, what your range is in your shoulder. The more we know before we go into deeper strength and conditioning of that shoulder, the better. We're just exploring what's happening in the body at the moment. Okay, elbow circles. Head stays forward, arm reaches back, hand onto the shoulder, and then elbow circles. Breathing in and breathing out. Getting a lovely flow and fluidity through that joint. Noticing which is the point of most restriction if this is your impinged shoulder. Take note of it. We want to see that improvement in mobility by the end of this program. And then come back to center. Right, ready for clams? You're going to open up your top knee and lower back down. Breathe out, breathing in, and open and close. And 3, 2, and 1, and release. Now, we're going to do a few moving from one side to the other side. So we're mobilizing the whole body as well as particularly our shoulder girdle. So where the shoulder attaches to the body. It includes your shoulder joint and your collarbones, as well as your shoulder blades. So we're going to open up the top arm, open up the top knee, roll all the way back and over to the other side. It should feel really pleasant on the body. Big breath in, reach forward. As arm goes up, leg goes out, and rolling all the way over to the other side. So we're mobilizing the whole spine, the shoulders, the hips. They're all interconnected with the same muscles and fascia that connect those two girdles, the shoulder and the pelvis. And let's do 2 more. Opening out, rolling back, up and over to the other side. And shifting through to the other side. Let's now go onto our front. So starting again with a nice shoulder and chest opening, we're going to link the hands behind the back of the body and we're going to reach the hands towards the feet, lifting the head and chest up, breathing into a chin down, back of the neck long, and release back down. We're going to turn the palms down to the floor. So we're opening up the collarbones. You should feel the collarbones widen and any tension start to ease a little. And then we're going to reach the hands towards those toes, lifting the head and chest up. Now from this position, I want you just to lift your back of the arm up to the ceiling and lower back. Just moving the arms, breathing out and breathing in. So we're getting that strength in the back of the shoulder while lengthening the front of the shoulder. This external rotation in the shoulder is what you'll see in anatomy books as well. This palm open posture. Nice open posture for the shoulder. When it's impinged, you'll often find that it's an internal rotation that's dominant in the shoulder. And release back down. Sit back over those legs into a shell stretch. Dodgy shoulder, you can bring it down to your side. Breathing in. Let's come up into standing. and feet hip distance apart. Relax those knees. We're going to shrug the shoulders up to the ears, and then we're going to forcefully drop them down. Nod the head to the chest and roll down through that spine, one bone at a time. Shifting the weight to those toes at the bottom. Now your hands and arms will be above your head, but it's not under a heavy amount of load. I want you just to do some gentle little circles, just easing the shoulder a little bit, relaxing some of the muscle and fascia around that shoulder joint. Change direction. You can draw little figures of 8 with your shoulders. So again, we're working with gravity to release the shoulder, working on releasing that neck a little bit as well. Hold on to each side of the head and gently pull and lengthen that head off your shoulders, lengthening the neck, creating space in those joints. Let the arms hang heavy. Scoop the abs in and start to roll back up, one bone at a time. Don't have any tension in the shoulders. As you restack the spine, shoulders naturally start to fall from the ears as you restack and lengthen up tall. At the top, check your head is over your spine. We're going to shrug the shoulders up to the ears again. Big breath in and then breathe out forcefully. Just relax and drop the shoulders. And again, big breath in. And breathing out. Once more, big breath in. And drop and release. So you should hopefully feel at the very least a little bit more relaxed around the body, particularly the upper body, neck and shoulders. That's the end of the first session.